Birthdays are supposed to be about celebration, right? A day where, even for just 24 hours, you feel seen and appreciated by the people who claim to love you most. For me, birthdays were nothing more than reminders of how invisible I was in my own family. Every year without fail, my parents poured their time, money, and affection into throwing massive, glittering birthday parties for my older brother, Ryan. It wasn't just cake and candles. It was live bands, 5-star catering, rented venues, and dozens of guests, friends, extended relatives, business connections. The kind of event you read about in magazines. And then there was me. For my birthdays, if they remembered at all, it was usually a passing "Oh right, happy birthday," said between sips of coffee, or maybe a small gift card shoved into my hand like a formality. No balloons. No gathering. No effort. I used to pretend it didn't bother me, but inside it broke me year after year. The worst was last year. My 18th birthday, the so-called milestone. I had secretly hoped maybe this time they'd do something. Something small, even. Just enough to let me know I mattered. Instead, when I came home that evening, the house was packed with guests. Music thundered from rented speakers, lights flashed, and tables overflowed with food. My heart leapt for a second, until I saw Ryan at the center, wearing a tailored navy suit, grinning as people sang to him. 5 tiers of cake stood on display, each layer decorated with golden fondant. Mom clutched Dad's arm, beaming with pride. "Isn't this incredible? Our boy deserves the best." My throat closed up. They had chosen that day, my birthday, to throw a grand celebration for Ryan instead. When Ryan finally noticed me at the edge of the crowd, his smirk widened. "Oh hey sis. Totally slipped my mind, it's your birthday too, isn't it? My bad." His friends burst out laughing like it was the funniest joke in the world. That laughter pierced me deeper than anything else. I slipped out unnoticed, sat on the back porch under the cold night sky, and cried silently. That night, I made myself a promise: never again. I would not let them erase me from my own life. The months that followed felt heavier than usual. Ryan went on with his charmed life, sports captain, golden child, center of attention. My parents doted on him endlessly, funding every new whim. Meanwhile, I got a polite nod when I aced my exams, or a distracted, "good job," when my essay won a school competition. But instead of wallowing, I worked. I picked up extra shifts at the small bookstore near my school. The pay wasn't much, but every dollar mattered. I didn't tell my parents, they never asked anyway. It was easier that way. They thought I spent my afternoons in the library. With each paycheck, I tucked money away. My savings grew slowly, and so did my resolve. By the time spring rolled around, Ryan's 19th birthday was months away, but my own was coming first. And I could already see the cycle repeating. At dinner one night, Dad leaned back in his chair, tapping a finger against the table. "I was thinking we should host Ryan's birthday outdoors this year. Maybe rent out the botanical gardens. The flowers will be in bloom by then." Mom's eyes sparkled. "Yes. And string lights, maybe even that jazz quartet. People will talk about it for weeks." Ryan grinned. "Don't forget a chocolate fountain. You know I can't live without that." I stared at them, pulse racing, before whispering, "What about my birthday?" The table fell silent for 2 seconds, just 2, before Ryan chuckled. "Oh right, you have one too, don't you?" He winked at me, and my parents laughed along as if it were harmless teasing. Mom reached across the table, patting my hand absent-mindedly. "Sweetheart, you know things are tight right now. We can't do 2 big parties so close together. Besides, Ryan's events are different. They attract important people, future opportunities. You understand, right? Different. That word again. Always different when it came to me." I nodded quietly, but inside, something hardened. That night, lying awake in my small room, I stared at the ceiling until tears blurred my vision. But beneath the hurt, fire burned. If they wouldn't give me recognition, I'd take it myself. If they wanted to pretend I didn't matter, I'd make sure they remembered me forever. And so, the plan began. I started small. I researched venues, local event planners, even catering services. Every break at work, I took notes. I wasn't aiming for extravagance, just something beautiful, something that would show I was worth celebrating too. I booked a cozy rooftop cafe downtown with a breathtaking view of the city skyline. It wasn't huge, but it had warmth, character, and charm, the opposite of Ryan's sterile, showy banquets. I paid the deposit with my savings, my hands trembling with both fear and excitement. Then I designed simple invitations. Not glossy cards with embossed lettering, but handwritten notes addressed to people who actually cared about me. My 2 closest friends, my bookstore boss, even a couple of kind neighbors who'd always asked about my well-being. For once, it wasn't about numbers. It was about meaning. As the date drew closer, I felt a strange mix of dread and thrill. What would my family do when they realized I had planned my own birthday? Would they even notice? Or would they dismiss it as another one of my little hobbies? I didn't care anymore. This year, I was done waiting for their permission to exist. And then, on the morning of my birthday, everything began to unfold. The morning of my 19th birthday started the same as all the others, quiet, ordinary, almost as though the date meant nothing. I came downstairs to the smell of coffee and pancakes, my parents chatting about Ryan's basketball tournament later that week. Not a word about me. "Morning," I mumbled, sliding into my chair. Ryan glanced at me, then back at his phone. "Morning, sis." That was it. No mention of the date. Not even a forced "Happy birthday." Mom glanced at me briefly. "Oh, you're up. Don't forget to pick up groceries later, okay?" I nodded, biting the inside of my cheek to keep from snapping. They didn't just forget, they chose not to remember. But that was fine. I didn't need them. Tonight wasn't for them. Tonight was mine. After school, I headed straight to the cafe rooftop. The staff had already decorated the place just as I had imagined, soft string lights twinkling above, candles glowing on each table, and a simple but beautiful cake resting on a stand at the center. The city skyline stretched behind it all, painted in shades of pink and orange as the sun began to set. It wasn't extravagant. It wasn't loud. But it was perfect. My friends arrived first, arms full of small gifts and wide smiles. My boss from the bookstore came too, hugging me warmly and handing me a wrapped book he thought I'd love. Even Mrs. Garcia from next door showed up, bringing homemade cookies. One by one, people gathered, people who saw me, valued me. The laughter that filled the rooftop was genuine, not forced. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged. As we lit the candles on my cake, my chest swelled with something I hadn't felt in years: joy. Real joy. But then came the twist I never saw coming. Halfway through the evening, just as I was about to blow out the candles, I heard familiar voices drifting from the entrance. I froze. My parents. Ryan. They stepped onto the rooftop, eyes wide as they took in the decorations, the guests, the cake, the celebration. For a moment, none of us moved. Then Mom's mouth tightened. "What is this?" I swallowed hard, my voice steady. "It's my birthday party." Dad frowned. "You planned this, without telling us?" Something in me snapped. "Why would I?" "You never plan anything for me. Every year you forget. Every year, you tell me Ryan is more important, his events are different. Well, guess what? Tonight is different too. Tonight is mine." The guests around me fell silent, watching. Ryan chuckled, shaking his head. "Wow. You're really making a big deal out of this, huh? So dramatic." I turned to him, anger flaring. "Dramatic? You laughed in my face last year when they threw your party on my birthday. You all laughed. Do you know what that felt like? To be invisible in your own home?" For the first time, Ryan didn't have a comeback. He shifted uncomfortably, glancing at our parents. Mom sighed, her tone sharp. "Honey, you're overreacting. We've done our best." No. My voice rose, trembling with years of suppressed hurt. You've done your best for him. Not for me. I've had to fight for scraps of attention, while you poured everything into Ryan. And I'm done pretending it doesn't hurt. I'm done pretending I don't matter. The rooftop was dead quiet except for my heartbeat pounding in my ears. Then came the real twist. One of my friends, James, who was also my classmate, stepped forward. Actually, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, she matters a lot. She's been tutoring half our class for free. She helps everyone, even when she's exhausted from working at the bookstore. She's the reason I passed math this year. Another friend chimed in. She's the smartest, kindest person we know. And you've been too blind to see it. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My parents stared at me, shock flickering in their eyes. For once, they saw me through someone else's words, not their own dismissive lens. And then, the cafe manager approached nervously, holding an envelope. Excuse me, are you Evelyn Miller? I blinked. Yes? He handed it to me. This was dropped off earlier today by courier. Said it was important. Confused, I opened it. Inside was a letter from my grandmother, my father's mother, who had passed away months ago. My hands shook as I read aloud. To my dear granddaughter Evelyn. If you're reading this, it means you've turned 19. I want you to know I saw you. I saw how overlooked you were, how hard you worked, how quietly you endured. That is why I've left something special for you. Enclosed are the documents transferring my house and savings to your name. It's not just an inheritance, it's recognition of your worth. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I gasped, nearly dropping the papers. The cafe erupted in murmurs. My grandmother's house. Her savings. All mine. My parents' faces drained of color. Ryan sputtered. Wait, what? She left it all to you? That's not, she always said I was her favorite. I turned to him slowly, my voice firm. Looks like she saw the truth, even when you all refused to. For once, Ryan had no smirk. No joke. Just silence. The rest of the night blurred into something magical. My guests cheered, hugging me, congratulating me. My parents lingered awkwardly at the edge, clearly shaken but too proud to apologize. When the candles were lit again, I closed my eyes and made a wish, not for their love, not for their approval. I wished for strength. Strength to keep valuing myself, with or without them. As I blew out the candles, a sense of peace settled over me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't invisible. I wasn't forgotten. I was seen. And this time, they would never forget it.